an absolute menace for this entire tournament. Really, I mean, you could say that sort of for every single player on the Kooky Koalas. They have been certainly impactful. there's a reason they have made it to the grand finals thus far. 3 maps for them to really decide out who's the better of these two teams. Last map would be Bind if we get that far, and also important noting is that Soniqs actually chose to ban Ascent, which is, I mean, at least statistically, the best map for Kooky Koalas as well. So
Yeah.
again, very favorable when you look at this on paper for the Soniqs, just kind of basing off of past performance, but Kooky Koalas certainly cannot be understated that they have a good chance in this one. Starting things out here, Agarwal towards B for Soniqs. I think they're just going to be making a little bit of noise, but otherwise that spike is brought up towards A, and there's a push through mid here, Nikki.
That there is indeed. That's a strong push already, and Ian will find the opening kill. Screwface will get traded out though by Ange. Oh, but those are bodies dropped on either side so quick in this pistol round, and it forces a little bit of a reset here for the side of Sonics as they try to figure out which side they actually want to hit.
Really great start to the round, however. Kooky Koalas being able to take down the Viper makes it so you have a very limited amount of cover, right? You can't rely on a poison orb. Obviously, you can't rely on that toxic screen, and looks like it's just going to be a head in towards A here, Nikki.
Yes, there it is. That Boombot already pushing through as the rest of Sonics get themselves up. That's a wall to protect that spike, but they have to deal with all of this nano swarm stalling in that spike plant, but it will eventually go down. We already have the rest of the koalas on this retake here, and that Viper wall is put up to try and get some.
Wow.
But it is Dizzy with the headshot to Kohler, removing a really important player. Spike taking away Anderson. Wraps around, not able to connect, will eventually fall. But this is still trades. It's still a 2v2, and that's the wall going up for Koalas to get that defused. Ange is going to protect it. They have it at half. She has to pick through. As Crunchy tries to pick, not going to happen. That is a round. Opening things up, Koalas, well played.
And that is the power of Sage on pistol. There's a reason she is so loved on Icebox, and it's because of just the tomfoolery that he can get away with. I absolutely adore that. Kooky Koalas, certainly a way to start things out here against the Sonics. First starting with that push out towards mid. They traded 1-for-1. Again, most importantly, taking out Ian in that situation. But then from there, obviously just a really sick retake as well. The wall certainly made that defuse more palatable, and that's the round, done and dusted. Kooky Koalas will have a ton of good weaponry to face off against these pistols from Sonics, and well, they're going to have to hit some bangers here if Sonics want to get themselves back into this early.
That they do. I mean, we saw some early utility push to try and delay any attempt of a push for that ultimate orb onto B site, but you know, Sonics, they're playing it a bit passive here. They do have that Viper Screwface aggressive push, finds 2 on the flank. That really distracted Sonics, and they just got picked off over on the other side too. Down to 2 for them. They need to try to get that spike somewhere, but they don't even have it on their bodies.
I'm surprised. I don't know how he got there unheard of. Or completely unheard, excuse me. Surely him making any noise would have easily alerted that lurking player outside of A, but I suppose not. Clean, flawless round for the Kooky Koalas. Expected result, but maybe not in that sort of fashion. Screwface able to find 2 with the Marshall. He's going to be keeping that for this next round. And it's going to be a bonus round for Kooky Koalas at that too. So they're going to be sticking with their SMGs. They have Harmon on the Ares, which I think is a kind of an interesting pick. And of course, Screwface with that Marshall. That being said, I don't see Screwface going for that cheeky business once more. I think for this time it's going to be a lot more conservative. See if you get anything for free, as Sonics. Really, the onus is on them to push.
Screwface still up here, forced to fall back, gets chip damage, but that is going to be a heal forced out, so not to worry other than the armor gone. That's information for them that, hey, Sonics, they're making a play onto A. And Screwface again with that Marshall finds himself a kill. And with the nano swarms in play over on A side, Crunchy can't even get that spike down, and that's the rotation already. Screwface, oh my god, that's another kill! Double on that Marshall. He is sniper incarnate here. Spike control is a little bit lost, but they will recover. Under a minute left, and Sonics 3 to 5 here. They're a little bit in a time crunch and not even a pinch. Like their rotations are gonna be rough.
They can burn down the clock a little bit more. They're just sitting, seeing if Kooky Koalas are going to give them anything for free, but no dice. Recon Dart spots exactly where Bob is located. Yeah, certainly in a bit of a pinch right now. Bob tries her best to try to get out of it alive, but is scathed heavily, down to 44 points of health. Plix, meanwhile, rotating around the back of site here, is trying to get an angle on the player coming in through spawn, towards screens, excuse me. But speaking of screens, it's a toxic screen that blocks off that line of sight. Bob, good for another before she eventually falls. And as the toxic screens fall, Kooky Koalas will rid all the members of Soniqs. And on the bonus round, Nikki, they're going to be able to make this 3-0. That is huge.
Absolutely. There's like, look at the rifles being passed around. Like, hey, take this, take that. That's a little bit of an upgrade. Their economy looking very solid here.
Yeah,
meanwhile, Soniqs, yeah, just like get a little bit of upgrade. And like, look, Screwface, those martial kills. He's upgraded himself into a nice, lovely operator in hand. And if he's playing with that operator as well as he has been last round with that marshal, I'm going to be a little bit worried at whatever site he's holding down.
Well, he definitely has a little bit more room for error. Doesn't have to hit those crazy headshots to one-tap him down. Oh, I love this from Harmon. That shock dart towards B main is really, really strong. But let's talk expectations for this one, Nikki. Can we really expect anything big out of the Soniqs? That was probably their biggest chance to get into things early, but now it's probably at least round number 5 before we start seeing them, you know, start to kick them around.
At this point, if you're Soniqs, you're just hoping for some, you know, kills, maybe a little bit of upgrade rifle. Screwface even finds Iron on the flank here. But Harmon very much in control. That's a lot of eyes, or a lot of the Soniqs being spotted by that owl drone. Dizzy with the Blade Storm could make something happen here, playing very aggressive. It's not like he has anything to lose when he dies. Yeah, they'll get that trade. They just want to get that spike down at this point, which they do, but it's going to be a miracle with a 3v5 with nothing but pistols in hand for Soniqs here.
Well, that dart is online from Harmon. Easily keep your eye on this man here. And look how they play around this dart. If he even spots anybody, they're probably going to move in path towards yellow. And as soon as that wall goes down, hell is going to unleash. But I didn't say for what side. Kooky Koalas certainly matching up against the pistols just fine, as they only lose one member in the midst of this chaos. Take an easy 4th.
Even doing some pistol upgrading for themselves as well. A little
Again, they're pick of the litter,
shopping spree, right? 2 rounds in a row is Kooky Koalas going a little skin shopping spree from the bodies of Soniqs. But hey, we're looking at Soniqs, full rifles in play again, and this is where if you're a Soniqs fan, you want them to swing this momentum in their favor. This is what round that they need to slow down the bleeding, slow down the economy loss, and
I think this is a mid-B play. Look at how they're setting up this arrow, Bob. I think this is going to hit towards B, and they're going to try to go through under tube, or maybe just straight up through tube. This is really kind of strange in a number of regards, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. Screwface is pushing up, spotted one player towards bomb, but doesn't live to try to take the fight. Trade 1-for-1, Nikki. This is a really strange push.
Yeah. Good trade, and that's a res to bring the numbers back in Sonic's favor. Harmon, though, very much aware that the rest of them are playing through kitchen. Oh, Anderson gets picked off, and this is it. This is the round that's like looking quite favorable right now for Soniqs, but Screwface spots one on the flank.
Clean.
Polar brought back to life as well. Absolutely. This is now a 4v4 on the retake. So what was looking promising for Soniqs suddenly looking dire as they are just getting picked off, as the Koalas pushing their way through. Still have enough time to make something happen. Blade Storm from Screwface will just right-click them away. They'll tap that spike, forcing things to Kohler back from the dead with the triple kill. Koalas are taking it to 5-0.
Unbelievable. Soniqs, such a relatively good start for them. They even had the res to bring back a player from the dead too, but Yeah, trading favorably from Tube right there, had Bob waiting in spawn with an aggro arrow. I didn't actually see where that one ended up, but they had a lot of good threads to pull on, so to speak, from Soniqs. It seemed like a well-structured push. Like, I enjoy the actual anatomy of it, but certainly not the result they're sticking for whatsoever. Another post-plant goes by the wayside. That's now 4 out of the 5 rounds that Kooky Koalas have won, being won on retakes. That is a bit of a cause for concern, isn't it? Soniqs for this round here, I mean, it's worth noting that they have the Viper's Pit available, excuse me. So if they can get that bomb down, that's another opportunity and probably their best one yet in order just to pop the ultimate and try to hide inside.
Bob trying to see if he can tag anybody with that Hunter's Fury, but no, it is Dizzy with that push. Double kill for him, takes down the operator, takes down a lot of the Koalas. This is a 2v4 with that Viper's Pit in play as well. They're going to get that spike down.
Interesting. That's a bit of a kooky move, so to speak, from Soniqs. And 42, I think they're really, really worried about the post plant. Even when they have such great numbers like that, they still feel the need, even after popping the Hunter's Fury, to get something else in the line as well. This should just be done and dusted. I don't see Anderson getting more than one here.
I mean, I can understand though when you're sitting at this with like no score, Anderson, and finally to fall, and yeah, that's Soniqs on the board. But you know, I don't mind the Viper's Pit being used. They thought they were comfortable with the numbers in their favor the round prior, and it did not turn out so well for them. So you invest it and secure this win. It's much needed for them.
Certainly, and off the back of Dizzy being able to find those 2 entries, I also have another question on, I think Screwface, I'm not 100% certain on what the call was, but that was a very dangerous position that he was playing with the operator.
Yeah.
He took a shot, but it didn't seem like he dashed out. I'm not quite sure what the protocol was there, but it's worth noting. We'll get to that a little bit later. It looks like that's just about what Dizzy does. He sometimes just gets crazy frags, and in this case, it's proven to be true yet again, Nikki. A trade 2 for 1. Soniqs still down massive numbers, though, and it's a 2v4, this time the other way.
Oh, absolutely. And the biggest pick-off is the fact that now Koalas, they have spike control. Dizzy has to protect that operator, too. I'm not sure. I mean, they knew that he was mid. So you can only go so many places, right? But I think they just want to protect that spike.
Well, they're fighting for it. It's going to be just a little while, actually, until they start meeting up again. Nice start. Take flight. That's clear. 1 ping onto a player.
Yep, just an operator or a smoke to cover that. They'll pick it up. They'll retrieve the spike. They'll fall back a bit here, but they are sitting with 30 seconds on the clock. They need to pick a site, and that Viper's Pit. That's what they were gonna want to have to push through.
Well, Anderson might just have the round-winning play right here, just in case he doesn't. There's Harmon here to save the day. Trolling in the pit with a judge. Options are narrow. I mean, it's kind of do or die right now. There's not much to do.
It is, and the timer though, that's a little bit of a fake, and there it is, the spike getting planted on B. Bob will even take Anderson out on that rotate, so it's a 2v3, still very much doable on the side of Soniqs here. But Screwface playing so aggressive, they'll tap that spike, they'll even take it to half. Bob not close.
Yeah, it was just such a rough state of affairs that they were in. The numbers just make it so difficult to pull off a 2v4 like that. Honestly, such a good attempt, though. I'm surprised that they even tried booking it over towards B, but that was some quick relay, a quick relay of information, excuse me, to even go that far, get the spike down. But you know, they needed to win some fights after the fact.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And that's the high risk, high reward play, right? You give up the comfort of playing with a teammate to get that spike down, and hopefully it kind of works out. Didn't work out in their favor that round, but Soniqs, they're in a little bit of they're backed up into a corner here. It's looking a little bit troublesome, but this is their map choice, so I can expect that they can swing this back around.
that pick for certain, but definitely neither team incompetent on it. 6-1 as Kooky Koalas are showing them how it's done right now.
Oh,
Don't
for
even look
sure.
necessarily challenged at a number of points. As for the early game of this next round here, lots of A presence to be known, and I'm not... Oh, never mind. We'll talk about that later. Again, Kohler out of nowhere finds a kill towards mid. But I was going to say the map presence overall seems very, very good for Soniqs as they have taken full control of A and now gotten the spike down to boot.
Yes, that is a lockdown from Kohler to play. He will fall, but lockdown is still available and going off. It's 3v4 here, but
Oh my
Anderson
God.
evens
This is
it
gonna be
out,
huge.
gets himself a click.
It still is going to be huge enough, though. Look how they have to back up all the way and play. Oh no, the snake bites missed!
It does. It doesn't go through. They're just gonna sit this. Protected right now as they try to spray through, eventually to fall, but Spike is already at the half. They'll tap it through Bob, of course, to make something happen to fall. It's 1v1 here, and Dizzy just playing for time. Gets it. Oh, this is gonna be a nail biter. He'll get it. 0.6 seconds left. Harm.
Oy. Bit of chaos there, isn't it? Harmon, a player you pointed out as being one of the ones to watch, and Kooky Koalas comes alive to clutch out the 1v1 and defuse the spike with just 0.6 seconds left on the clock. Soniqs, I mean, look at that round history. That is egregious. 6 out of the 7 rounds of Kooky Koalas wins have all been on post plants. It is actually a little bit ridiculous how much you're getting away with in that regard, but think about it in this way. It's Soniqs feeling so comfortable to concede the site and play from there on out, you know? That in and of itself is so admirable.
Absolutely. And I mean, not surprising we're seeing a tactical pause right here, because you need to look at this and be, and if you're Soniqs right now, you're going to be like, WTH, like, what the heck? What do we do?
That's what,
what do we need to change? I mean, you know, I'm trying to keep it a little PG here. But
we'll get back to our shooting game later. Do not worry.
Soniqs, this is their map pick, so they need to stop the bleeding. They need to readjust something here, and that's I'm sure that's the conversation that they have. They are, you know, their economy hurting, but you see everybody postured around mid. Their default plays, the Viper wall aggressive like plays, fake outs even on the opposite side, has not been working out for them. So some of the strategies that they have in their playbook, they kind of have to rewrite it a little bit and readjust, because Koalas, they played the shit out of this map today. So they are very well versed and are learned and know how to adjust and try to figure out, how did we mess up losing this earlier? What can we do to fix this? And they've been performing so far. Kohler, honestly, like sitting in the middle with that Killjoy, just finding those pickoffs as they try to move, as the Soniqs try to rotate around, huge for them. So huge.
The tactical pause, I think on top of that, it's going to at least halt the momentum of Kooky Koalas, but you're talking about, you know, what they've learned, and I'm sure just even losing one round, they have plenty to talk about. Kooky Koalas, they're tired, but my God, they have just only gotten better with time. They're a well-oiled machine at this point. 7-1, and honestly, I think at least general strategy for Soniqs that you've been talking about has been fundamentally solid. They've gotten the spike down a number of times, with the only instance being that bonus that they weren't able to piece together. I think like their general strategies are working. It's just they seem very panicked in these post plants, as we've seen, you know, miss snake bites and overall just not being able to clutch out some fights. It's easy to see and easy to say when you're in the high chair like this, but I mean, let's be real here. They have to realize that for their own, and I hope that tactical pause helped them out. For now, though, much slower pace adopted, barely any noise made. Viper wall being brought up and down towards B, a bit of presence shown over towards mid, but if you look at that radar, you'll see that the spike is quickly, just, it's crawling its way towards A. I think maybe that's the better way to put it. They're quickly crawling, and Kooky Koalas, somehow, some way, they have read this and are rotating.
They have, absolutely. They've already pinged it out. You will already see the bodies going through. And then, honestly, I'm going to say again, it's Kohler at mid. He showed no presence, but very much aware that that's the rotation's over. Look at him even on the back, just preparing to flank through. Sonics,
good one.
they'll be on site. He'll turn the. Oh, it's Bob finds the head. Kohler taken out. That's a big kill. And Spike also taken away. So Sonics looking very promising here. That they are at an advantage on that post line, but they're gonna have to deal with the rifles of the Kooky Koalas as they're pushing through. So far, it is trades. Harmon finally falling. And it's now up to Ange again with that wall. Has to try to spray through. Oh, not really expecting the jet there. And that is a thrifty round swinging to the side of Sonics. Hey, whatever they did in that tack pause seems to have worked out for them.
Whatever it takes. I like it. Sometimes all it takes is a... You know, again, I feel like the anatomy of that round is pretty similar to what we've seen for basically the entire game for the Sonics. But... a fight here, a fight there, and suddenly the round looks very different, doesn't it? Bob,
right.
Undeniably the VIP of that round. If I had to choose one, shock dart kill onto the players entering in through screens, and then of course being able to watch a flank. She had massive impact. For this one, Kooky Koalas is going to be partially changing up their setup as well, but I think Sonics, this is a thread that they can pull on. Keep on trying to get that spike down play from post plant. Sure, maybe it hasn't worked too perfectly so far, but it's something that you can do. It's something that you can work off of. A res as well expended. Sonics looking good for them as they look to get the spike down right about now. They need to shoot that dart. No one's shooting the dart.
They're trying through Harmon, trying to spray and pray. We'll have to try and decide if he wants to use that drone, give a little bit of information here. But Sonics, their post plant, they're all sitting over on the back of B. But look at where Screwface is right now. They're expecting the flank. Peeks the corner, and Ian will find his face. Dizzy will pricks himself up another, and the Koalas, very rough. They're down to 2 against the 5 of Sonics on this retake.
What seems like has changed just in that tactical pause is they're very well aware and posted on some of the angles where they're expecting flanks. In that last round it was Kohler, this time it was Screwface being taken out. I think they certainly have a bit more of a plan and they're not, you know, being as caught off guard by some of these flanking plays. Question now the question you must ask now is, how do Kooky Koalas adjust? I mean, do they become a little bit more one-track minded with their flanks? Do they try to bring players out through mid? Do they go as a group? Maybe they send 2 players down mid. There's a variety of ways that the Sonics could deal with this, but they're learning. And that is a very big difference, something we haven't seen from the beginning of this first half from Sonics.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're already seeing a bit of that adjustment that you're talking about here. We're seeing the Viper and the Sage holding down A. That meanwhile, Harmon is the one holding down mid for the Koalas over here. So that's a lot of change. And there it is. Viper Pit is used by the Koalas to push away any entry on A side. But we've seen that before, and it works out.
Whoa.
Screwface. Not sure if they were expecting how aggressive his play is there. He will get rewarded with that opening kill from the Sonics.
Certainly was not. I feel like Screwface, that's the second time where he's got into a really cheeky area unheard. Like, I feel like there should have been some sound cue for him updrafting up to that higher level, but I suppose not. Massive brain play from him, no doubt.
Indeed, and Dizzy trying to sneak his way into kitchen with that operator, but that's a turret still keeping guard in there from Kohler. So that's going to be a little bit rough here, and that's swarm grenade. Like, yeah, there's going to be this nano swarms delaying any attempt of a spike plant here because it does look like B is a play for the Sonics. They've had success with it before. They want to try and do it again, and Plix will take that kill from taking Screwface out of the game for now. But there is a res available still.
Now you have to be keeping your eye on what do the Sonics do, excuse me, to watch her flank. You see how they have 2 players committed watching because Screwface was there last time. They have Dizzy flanking through mid, and unbelievably, Harmon is actually watching for that as well. So they know 1 player at the very minimum is on flank right now. They don't know how many players are yellow box, but they're going to try and immediately apply pressure over towards the site itself. Right on cue, though, that's going to lead Dizzy Life out to peek and take down Ange. As a response, though, Kohler starts pushing in, finds 1 frag, and Kooky Koalas on the trade out have their teammates back. Kohler, his death does not go unnoticed or unrevenged. It's just instant. Kooky Koalas certainly upping the pace there on that retake, taking 8th round.
That was so beautiful, the way they just positioned themselves and gave up, knowing that Soniqs, they have to peek this, they have to pay attention and delay that spike. But Kooky Koalas, just looking at the map or looking at the scoreboard and the scoreline, how many post plants they've swung in their favor. It's so scary that you're gonna come into this at the half if you're Soniqs on your map choice down this much.
Certainly
Hunter's
unprecedented
Fury.
for Soniqs in this tournament, right? They have
Yeah,
not
Hunter's
lost.
Theory expended.
Doesn't find anything, yeah. Orb
That's the
picked up.
orb secured. Yeah, it looks like they. I mean, okay, Soniqs, they've had quite a lot of success at B. It looks like they want to do this again, but they have to deal with Anderson with, and there it is. That's the wall that he's gonna put down to attempt any push through. But Flix, even with the showstopper, not able to find anybody here. Soniqs is gonna get that spike down. But it's Ange that finds the opening kill, taking down Ian in the back. That is a Viper's Pit, no longer available to protect the spike.
Soniqs down a player. It's certainly rough. Keep in mind, Bob has that Hunter's Fury. He's going to be trying to play a range with it, but it is of the utmost importance that Kooky Koalas just somehow path around and kind of press the issue. As I mean, you just have to
Absolutely.
minimize the amount of space that Bob has in order to allow this Hunter's Fury to find damage. The spike is already
goodness.
halved. Not impossible from Ange to win this. I'm being completely honest here when I say it's actually very much possible. If he just didn't get around that wall, maybe he would have had a little bit of a better opportunity. But Soniqs, finally at last, they managed to hold on, pull through, and stick it through a retake. But my God, Kooky Koalas are coming out swinging on this first map. Certainly exceeding my expectations, and I think maybe exceeding the expectations of the Soniqs as well.
For sure. And now that we're on now that the half is switched, the sides are switched, that's going to be a bit of a reset for both sides here. And Kooky Koalas, they have to feel good coming into the half on a lead. And I almost feel like they're very comfortable playing this on attacker side as well, because that's where we're just kind of watching from their prior games. They struggled on the defense, but to play as well as they did has to feel good.
Amazing feeling.
Ooh.
Certainly.
Screw me.
That's unreal. Bit of spam down. Could be healed up. I'm not too worried about that, but
Yeah.
it's a bit of a tilter.
Exactly. You just gotta be like, what the heck? But everybody's playing passive here. Bob spots a couple of bodies over in the tube and is going to fall back a little bit here. Well, rest of the Koalas making their way onto a B, trying to find if they can spot anybody. But look how far back Soniqs are playing on this site.
Yeah, they're full committed to the retake. Not necessarily dislike the idea. This is going to be a pretty meaty grenade. Shouldn't really.
she's
Oh no, it's
gone.
Ange dead.
Yeah, she's
That's actually
gone.
really big. Yeah, I mean the wall is still down though, so her impact will not go unnoticed, and it's going to provide at least some temporary cover for the Kooky Koalas as they now set up into more postured positions here. 5v4 Soniqs with a player lead here. This next kill is going to decide a lot. Izzy not ready to commit to try to kill that Viper, but was ready for the player potentially flanking through mid. Really difficult state of affairs for Soniqs right now. The counter wall will come through. Trades 1-for-1. Still, that bomb is being
they're
stuck
sticking.
the entire time through that wall. Tear it down, Mr. Gorbachev. You can't do it in time. Soniqs, they get away with the defuse, and that is a big round for Soniqs to find.
Oh my god, that is definitely huge. They are that pivotal round. We've talked about it in prior games where pistol rounds, that for this one, it's so important because not only are they going to come into this next round with SMGs in hand, they're only now down 3 rounds.
Unbelievable. Still, yeah, the difference isn't so great, you know, once you get the pistol and then the very likely bonus after the fact, but really do not count the Kooky Koalas. They've already surprised so far. Who's to say they can't do it again? Didn't quite get a chance to see if they bought any upgraded pistols, but I'd be surprised if you saw like a cheeky Marshall out from Screwface. You never know with that guy.
Exactly. Or even just like a little shorty as we try to dash his way through, find a face. But look, a little bit of plinking happening over on B side, but Screwface already pushing through will fall to Crunchy, who is keeping a good eye,
the
but
Spectre
will
sucks, bro.
eventually. Ew, that feels rough. That's the ghost power. And it is still even numbers here as that spike slowly making its way onto A.
Well, train 1-for-1 isn't bad. It's an unfortunate duel for one to lose towards Kitchen. No matter though. I think Dizzy is at least good for one here and has the dash away.
Oh, for
after
sure.
The fact.
Yeah.
Playing contact for this second. Doesn't want to overstay his welcome. There you have it. And now, I mean, think about the time. He can just sit back sight, wait for those rotates to come through. It might just be the spike actually guaranteed. Those nades miss, makes it so Ange is able to stay alive for after the fact, but still, yeah, good luck doing much from here. You're being collapsed in upon.
That's a triple kill for Dizzy. They'll get that spike, and this gap really closing in, and this is Soniqs looking very, very much like what we expect to see from them. Taking that momentum, grabbing it, and now they're looking good. They're down to 2 for this, like for being behind. And Koalas, you're feeling a little nervous here. You're sweating a little bit now.
A little bit, but you know they've been down this road before. Soniqs, I mean, they're the kind of team to beat right now in this month of the Gauntlet. They can't get themselves too nervous, and I'm sure. Again, they've been down this road before. They've fought much crazier opponents, and they've pulled off some crazy stuff. For now, though, they need to focus on this current round here. It's a bonus for the side of Soniqs. And I was about to say, Dizzy was actually the one to defuse the spike there, and he's going to have the dice. His Blade Storm online for this next round. Thing is, Kooky Koalas are doing fine up against it, and this Crunchy is the first one to fall here. That's no res available. I mean, the spike is at least somewhat punished here, but things are moving really quick on this retake where you don't really have that much time to breathe. Whether you're the caster or the player, you immediately have to kind of take the pace as it goes. Plix taking some egregious fights over here is not going to be able to win them out for now.
No, it is Soniqs down to 3. They still need to tap on that spike and get it through, but they're dealing with the 5 of the Koalas with so much lineups to play with. They are spraying through those Viper Poison. And it's so just a spray, and Bob, he's trying to push through and aggress, but it's not happening here. And Plix down to his lonesome, has to try and push through, maybe get a kill, will not happen. Koalas definitely still very much alive in this game.
Most certainly. That was a bonus, though. Important to keep in mind from Soniqs. Whether that really makes a lot of sense for why they lost it so devastatingly, that's a different question entirely. But Dizzy Life using the Blade Storm to try to keep the dreams of the Soniqs alive, and interestingly enough, he's going to try to continue to keep the dream alive for Soniqs in this round here, as he's actually purchased the Operator. Very, very curious on where he's going to be playing with this. I'm expecting an aggressive angle, possibly towards pipes. No, he's going to go even deep. Oh, no, it's over towards pipes indeed. But he might get spotted out by the start, and yeah, he's going to have to back up without any space really taken or created.
Screwface again playing so aggressive. Managed to do a little bit of chip damage, and it's forcing the rest of Soniqs to fall back here. So they're going to play retake as that spike making its way onto site. All of this utility from Anderson already ready to protect it. Ange to fall, but Kohler will get a trade. It's a 4v4 still. I just love how aggressive Screwface has been playing. It's really, really throwing Soniqs for a loop. Harmon sitting on the backside. This is lineups contested, but that wall is up. They're going to try to get that spike defused, but dealing with all those Viper and even shock darts. Kohler is good for another. It's so frustrating, and now you have to question, do you save that Operator and back off, or do you go for this?
You have to. There's absolutely zero reason when it's an unwinnable situation. Just because there's someone halfway across the map just pressing a single button after staring at a pixel on the wall. I mean, that's how it works. Getting into that spot in the first place is a real challenge for Kooky Koalas, and they have been magnificent at it thus far. They're up to double digits here, and thing is, Nikki, I'm honestly surprised that
Mm-hmm.
it didn't start out this way, right? I'm surprised we didn't see this kind of setup from Kooky Koalas from the pistol on, because they seem really comfortable in post plants.
Absolutely. And I mean, this is your absolute favorite right now, right? The lineup meta. We're just seeing the strength and how disgusting, so to speak. You're dealing with Viper utility, Killjoy utility, Sova utility, post plant. It's the complete opposite of what was happening on the side of Sonics, where they could not just hold down their plant. Oh my
How
god,
did
Bob
Bob
though
get that?
taking
What?
down Harmon. Shock down. I mean, it doesn't matter. He a short-lived death. But these are trades coming out. Lockdown as well in play for the Koalas, and they will make their way onto site. But oh, that pain shell's almost good for another kill. Ange does not want to die this time around.
Ooh. Unfortunate movement
Showstopper.
by Plix. Couldn't deny
Yep.
the plant. That's
Could
actually a
not,
real big
has
kill.
to throw that showstopper away. It's still a 4v4 here, Ito, and they're gonna try and drop all of that utility, but those are sheriffs in the hands on the side of Sonics here, and Screwface good for one. Harmon looking to equalize and find some kills of his own here. They're just really holding this spike down. Look at that, just all of the utility falling as well, and Koalas, they'll take this to 11.
Absolutely destroying. Despite how many games of Valorant they have played today, they are still raring to go and ready to snatch away this map pick. And mind you, Sonics, this is, I think, where they really kind of built their name since moving to NA. And they just, I don't know, sometimes it's just dealing with the Kooky Koalas that is an issue, right? You never expect the Kooky Koalas. They had that one
Exactly.
really deep run before, and they're going to be trying to do it again. They are looking very confident right now, and you have to respect it.
How much do you think it's affecting the mental of Sonics right now, knowing that they're potentially about to lose their first map in this
I don't think
tournament?
they should be too depressed. I mean, yeah, it's a little tilting. You had a crazy scoreline heading into this with triple 13 zeros, but I mean, it's the grand finals after all. You have to make things at least a little bit more exciting, right? First
Yes.
kill actually does go the way of Iron Viper's Pit used in response from Anderson. That's going to allow them to very likely get the spike planted. It's a really big kill, though, that Sonics found, because no longer is Res going to be available. I mean, just completely out of the picture entirely. Ange, he must be kicking himself for that. Sonics are in a really good position right now.
For sure. I mean, Koala's a down one. That's a double Viper's Pit in play right here, but Spike is still
What's happening, dude?
in play.
Still
They
sitting there.
cannot get it down.
Oh no, that's a Viper's Pit as well!
Yeah, it's a double Viper's Pit, so it feels a little rough. Everybody's just sitting so low. And Hunter's Fury being expended to delay any attempt to get that spike down will actually connect.
This is unreal.
Koalas, they're the ones getting the kills.
That is
Screwface finds
unbelievable.
himself a Bob, and that spike now planted with plenty of time left, and Dizzy on his own, judge in hand. Oh, that's rough.
I cannot even believe from a 4v5 into a 4v1. Kooky Koalas with a bounce back. And it feels so succinct, right? This has just kind of been the story for Sonics in map number 1. They are kooky, they are koalas, they are the Kooky Koalas, and they are showing up to play in the grand finals. Stamina be damned. That 20 minutes that they had between series was more than enough for them to rejuvenate entirely. I don't know what they're doing or what they did, but it certainly did the trick for them. 12-6. They are absolutely massacring the Sonics right now. This has been unprecedented for the entire tournament at that. And you love to see it, right? Because they had such a hard journey to get to this place, to this point, excuse me. And the fact that they're very close to being able to go up one map to 0 against kind of the juggernauts of this tournament. It's wild to think, but I don't want to dwell on storyline for too long. This has been solid play from the Kooky Koalas and great rebounds. If they can keep this up for one round, though, they'll be moving on to Bind with excuse me, onto Haven with their hearts held high.
Yeah. Screwface a little bit scary there. Spots that Judge just, or the pistol sitting in the corner. Look at Kohler as well. Like, he is going to run into a lot of bodies here, but Kohler usually does very well on these like flank attempts and push delays that he does. There's that judge trying to make something happen, but no, does not. Will face the operator, and there it is. Kohler will take one. Dizzy Life forced to fall back here. Spike already in play, and they have... It's looking really rough. This is match point for the Koalas, and they're sitting pretty.
At point indeed, and you can see a little bit of desperation from Soniqs, just how Ian was postured after fighting Yellow Box there. Peeked out, desperately needed a kill, but got traded, being out by range. It's a 5v1, an impossible task that Screwface will shut out before